got a goofy video today, AKAPADers. It's about to get preachy. Fair warning. But I gotta approach the comic book world with this thought. I feel like it's important. I feel like everything you guys are about to watch and listen to is of note. It's of our time. I feel like it should get repeated. But right here we have the Electric State. And if we look at the Electric State, I believe it's here in the back. This book, too, blew me away. But see, the Electric State is published by Skybound Entertainment. Robert Kirkman, right? Walking Dead, Image Comic, right? He's one Image Comic, guys. This is comic book money. And then we have here an Electric State, guys, right? $300 million, Netflix. Huge movie. Very enjoyable. I like this movie, by the way. And then we have here. And you guys may not even know what this is. But this is a major movie. Directed by Robert Zemeckis. Tom Hanks. Straight up comic book success. With a form-breaking graphic novel at its core. And no one is talking about it. We've become very comfortable ignoring comic book success. We don't do that here. Why isn't this championed within the comic book community, the commentator community, comic book YouTubers, X accounts, professionals, cats and dogs, mothers, fathers, sisters alike? This is here. This is the premise of what I believe to be a top 5 movie of last year. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Tom Hanks. There was a time where if Robert Zemeckis touched any comic book property, it would be all over like Wizard Magazine. It would be reported. It would be amongst the comic book culture and lexicon like that. The guy behind Back to the Future is behind the comic book. And we get none of that right now. Let's just go back, right? If we go to like Ghost World as a really good example, and we're not talking superhero movies, superhero adaptations, but we're really in an age where comic book success is absolutely ignored. When we ignore comic book success, we lose some of those torches, like some of those bright lights to chase. Because the comic book world, comic book production, comic book creators, like you're pretty much in darkness. And you need shining lights to guide you through that darkness. Bone is another great example of that, where emulating the success of Bone drove a lot of creators into the absolute best crevices. So here's the thing. Here might be championed somewhere that I don't have eyeballs on and that I'm not aware of. But I know in my circle, in my sphere, and I try and pay attention to a lot as possible, everyone has ignored recent comic book success. So you would go into a Barnes and Noble at one time, or some comic shops ordered catalog down one of each of graphic novels, and it just seemed like in some metropolitan cities and some decent neighborhoods, you would have that one comic shop that had a really banger, stellar graphic novel selection. And you would feel obligated to buy, own, to learn, to read Ghost World, American Splendor, Road to Perdition, because you were in yourself like you were a historian, and knowing about these stories that now have mainstream appeal, you were a little bit of a keeper of the throne. You're a little bit of a curator of yourself, and this is at the time like knowing as much about the superhero comic books, Marvel, DC, what have you, and the independent efforts. But some of the independent efforts are major companies themselves, like Fantagraphics. Myself at one time, I it was crazy. I had to hunt down a edition of Fritz the Cat when I learned, and yeah, we're talking young Peter here, when I learned that that was a comic book. And I'm like, I need to own this. I need to learn this. I need to know this. But we're in an age where that level of success is no longer appreciated. Here, literally, here is one good example of that. And the other good example, we already profiled this, the Electric State. There's, I believe, like blue is the warmest color. What's the Polar, which is a banger movie on Netflix. But Polar, the Eternaut, that just dropped on Netflix, people didn't know that was from a comic book. It's really wild. Something like the Electric State, is it a comic book? Is it not? Or is it a picture book? But it doesn't matter, because this is produced by Skybound Entertainment. Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead fame, his company, which was really grounded from comic book success. Comic book money flowed up and came down to this, a $300 million movie from Netflix. Comic book success. And no one pays attention to it now. No one comments on it. I just gotta do it because I get angry about this stuff sometimes. I know none of my contemporaries have this. Look through it. Know it. Read it. Care about it. And it's wild to me. Because at one time, if you said the guy that directed Back to the Future got a comic book property, you wouldn't care if it was a superhero or something like this. And why is that? I remember how excited. I mean, you could, when it came up, it was like thick air. You could cut it. But the very thought of James Cameron directing a Spider-Man movie blew your head off of your shoulders. There was a level of excitement of the comic books getting adapted and moved into a broader audience. And you had to know the source material. Didn't matter how close it was. You had to know it. That was a part of the path. Things are upside down now. It really is. Comic book success is no longer celebrated. But let's hit the drawing table. I want to just give you guys a preview of this, because I feel this is one of the most significant graphic novels I've seen in a very long time. And also, the movie, starring Tom Hanks, last year. It's a top 5 movie. It's stellar. The technical part of it. The camera doesn't move. The camera literally stays in one corner, like here. Both visionary work, both one of the greatest of their genres. This is one of the greatest comic book graphic novels of all time. And here is one of the greatest comic book adaptations of all time. Wild, isn't it? Let's go. Yeah, guys, so I encourage anyone out there, you buy this. I bought me, look, I love ripped covers, by the way. This book, I mean, look at the spine. I mean, it's just red. I mean, it might have been, I guess, it was in the store. I got this off of Amazon for about $5. I think it just got re-released. I think it's getting some traction in some bookstores. I've seen this in a couple displays around Philly. I like buying used books. I really do, especially if they're beat up, because you don't have to worry about keeping them nice. So we see here with the tabs, we have 1637, look, 8000 BCE, 1955, 1989, 1999. And we have just a single frame, a single panel, no movement. We got some dialogue, but we have a visual experience and anything I could ever imagine. And I discovered this through watching the movie and realizing, again, I'll keep saying it, here is
such an incredible movie, absolutely moving. Don't watch it if you're just like an old curmudgeon of a man. Like, you sit down and be a good audience member with that movie. This graphic novel absolutely floored me. Now, it's a little tough to do a analysis of it because you have to experience this graphic novel. You have to experience it. To me, this is monumental. To me, this deserves all your attention, all of your time. And it proves one thing, right? You don't have to draw superhero stuff. Now, we're in an age, we're in an era where, yeah, the superhero comics are less and less. But if we can get this level of imagination back into superhero comics, I think we'll be okay. So, guys, a little bit of a quick preview. Don't dismiss things. Approach them with ferocity. You really have to.